It's time for Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network. Tiger Talk, live from Tiger Club inside the Robins Center on the Fort Hays State Campus, is brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, banking one story at a time. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, expertise, technology, compassion, all right here. BTI, your John Deere dealer with locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. Eagle Radio, Hull Broadcasting, and HayesPost.com, keeping our community connected. And The Taco Shop. Order by phone or use the Taco Shop app. Dine in, pick up, or delivery. The Taco Shop. You've never had it so good. Now, Tiger Talk with the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock.
And a good afternoon and welcome into Tiger Talk. We're live with Tiger Club inside the Robins Center on the Fort Hays State campus. Certainly glad to have you with us here today as we talk some Fort Hays State athletics. We're going to talk football with Chris Brown a little bit later on in the program, but also some basketball today. Women's coach Talia Cars and men's coach Mark Johnson will be joining us as they get set to crank up their season this weekend. They'll be playing for real at a couple of classics. We'll talk more about that as we move along. We love to hear from you. You can submit a question for the coaches. Go to FHSUathletics.com. Click on fans. You'll get the drop-down menu. You'll see Ask the Coach. Submit it there. If we use it, a chance to win a Fort Hays State football T-shirt from Fort Hays State Athletics. All right, let's get you up to date with everything real quick so we can get to our coaches. Let's start with football. Beat number 11 Emporia State Saturday, 36-7. So they improved to 7-3, 5-3 in the conference. They're idle this week. They'll be wrapping up the regular season at Nebraska Kearney a week from Saturday. And as we mentioned, Chris Brown will be joining us in his normal slot toward the end of the program. Volleyball picked up a pair of home wins, beat Newman and Pittsburgh State. They beat the Jets in 4, swept the Gorillas in 3. On the road this weekend at Emporia State Friday. That'll be at 6. Washburn Saturday at 6. Both will be on the MIAA network. Tigers tied for 7th in the KPI standings used to determine who gets into the conference tournament. Women's soccer 0-2 in Oklahoma. Lost 1-0 to Northeastern State Friday. 2-1 to Rogers State Sunday. They have their final match of the regular season tonight. That is at 7 o'clock at Nebraska Kearney. Tigers need to either win or tie to lock down a berth into the MIAA tournament, currently sitting in 7th place. And again, that'll be on the MIAA network. Men's soccer went 1-0-1, beat Northeastern State 4-2 Thursday, scored the go-ahead goal in the 82nd minute, scored another one 2 minutes later. Saturday, a 1-1 draw at Rogers State. So their unbeaten streak now at 9. They wrap up their regular season at Newman tomorrow at 7. Tigers are in second place, 1 point behind Southern Nazarene in the GAC standings. Men and women wrestling opened up. The Tiger men were at the Falcon Open at Park City. Had one placer, Terrius Henry, 4th at 197. The women out in Colorado beat Snow College 30-14, then lost to number 7 Colorado Mesa 27-15. They had one champion, 20 placers overall. Isabella Renfro won the 180-pound weight class. 6 other runner-up finishes. Both the men and women at home tomorrow. Their first duels of the year. Southeast Community College out of Nebraska will be in town. Women at 6, men at 7. Cross country, they'll be at the Division II Central Regional Championships hosted by Missouri Southern. That'll be on the Tom Rutledge cross country course in Joplin. Men's 10K at 10, the women's 6K at 11:15. And we mentioned basketball. Both had exhibition games last week. Men lost 70-56 at K-State. Women lost 89-49 at UConn. They play for real. The women will be in St. Joe Friday, the Central Region Showcase. Augustana Friday, MSU Moorhead Saturday. Both games will be at 12:30, both on Tiger Radio Mix 103.3. The men headed to Marshall, Minnesota, Southwest Minnesota State on Friday at 7, then Concordia St. Paul Saturday afternoon at 4. both of them on Mix 103.3, and we'll hear from both coaches here in just a little bit. Tiger Talk brought to you by Golden Belt Bank. Your life has a story. Golden Belt Bank wants to get to know that story. Golden Belt Bank of Hazen Ellis. Visit them at goldenbeltbank.com. We'll take our first break. Women's basketball coach Talia Cars joins us next on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
He bobbles into the 10-5, touchdown.
It's to the edge, and Hayes High's going to win this football game. Johnny Rigler is on the spot.
Fire up the three, and make it home as it swirls.
Launches a three, bang, nothing but net.
It's dropped in left field, and we are tied as 5 touchdowns.
He didn't get down, Hayes High wins in overtime.
Pistol formation, Ryan Allen in motion. They hand it off to Shane Watts. Blast up the middle. First down and more. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown! Fort Hays State. Shane Watts, 42 yards on 3rd and 3. And the Tigers add to the lead. It's now 11-0. One play into the second quarter. Yeah, some of the action from Saturday in Emporia. We'll talk more football with Coach Chris Brown a little bit later on in the program. But right now we're going to talk some women's basketball with Coach Talia Cars. But first need to remind you that the Kansas Department of Transportation and the Drive to Zero Coalition invite you to join fans with a plan. If you're going to be drinking, always designate a sober driver. Talia Cars with us now, and boy, hard to believe, ready to crank it up for real. Let's first talk about UConn. Obviously a great opportunity for your team to take on that premier program in all of women's college basketball, and the score may not show it. You had a couple of really good quarters, certainly held your own, but I'm guessing your team probably still talking about that trip to Connecticut.
Yeah, going into that game, there was a lot of things that I felt like we could control, and that was a lot of it was our effort. So getting defensive rebounds, so making sure we were boxing somebody out every single possession, running the floor really hard on both ends of the ball, because that's kind of what UConn's known for, is they really like to push it up the floor, but it's also kind of what we're known for. So we, on the opposite end, really wanted to try to push it up the floor, and I thought we did a fantastic job of getting the ball contained for the most part. They had a couple of spurts in there where they made little runs, but I thought we did those two things really, really well. I thought we walked away from that game better, and so I think that's something that going into it, you hope that you grew because of it, regardless of the outcome, and I felt like we got better.
I know you brought Kate Dilsaver with you today as one of your guests for the crowd here at Tiger Club. She had the probably honor a little bit in guarding Paige Beckers, maybe the best college basketball player right now and one of the best of all time. Had to be special for her, but a unique challenge. But just to get a play with someone of that stature, pretty cool for your kids to be able to say that. Yeah,
and I think Kate rose to the occasion, and we have pictures to prove it. That Kate had a hand in her face every single time.
But she does that to everybody,
and she made it. Every single time, but not because our defense was poor. I think there was a couple times she had an open shot, but for the most part, there was a hand in her face. She's just a really good basketball player, and she's going to make a lot of shots this year. So I was really pleased specifically with Kate's defense and just not backing down. And if she made it, she was going to try to do it again and make it really hard for her to score the next time.
And it's really nice of UConn to do that. They don't have to. And the experience, I know you got to practice in their facility. Just the whole experience, the game is great, but all the other things that get to go with it, it's really cool for your team.
Yeah, I mean, their facility's awesome on the practice side of things. And then in their gymnasium, I mean, their crowd shows up, even if it's for Fort Hays State. It was a great atmosphere. It was a lot of fun, super loud, and they got new video boards, and they literally span the end zones above it. They were huge. That's the first time that they got to play with those. There was fire involved in the starting lineup, and all that was new to them, so that was really cool to experience for the first time.
All right. We didn't get the questions submitted, but I know it's on everybody's mind. Katie Wagner did not play in the game. How's she doing? I know she injured her ankle in practice before the contest.
Yeah, she sprained her ankle pretty good on Saturday and felt like it wasn't probably a thing to really try to force anything, and so we decided not to play her. She's day by day right now on whether we'll see her this weekend or not, but she's doing everything she can to get back, and a bummer for her to not get to play in that game, but I thought we did a great job of stepping up and filling her role.
All right, we'll talk about the games coming up this weekend, but you look at your team, you have a great core back led by Katie, led by Olivia. We mentioned Kate Dilsaver, and there's others, but there's a lot of new faces as well. How is everybody integrating, and how have you liked some of the newcomers and how they've performed so far?
Yeah, and they're gym rats. They like to get in the gym, the new kids do, and so that's been really cool. They're eager to learn, super coachable. Whether it's a coach telling them what to do or one of the returners, they're ready to listen and get better. So I think the little pieces that we were missing or that we lost from this last season have been filled, and they're ready to step in and play some basketball.
One player I want to ask you about, a returner, played a little bit last year, Telexa Weeder, scored 7 in UConn, couple of rebounds, hit a 3, and just watching practice so far, looks like she's taken a giant step in her game.
Yeah, I think as a freshman, regardless of your role, it's just a challenge. On and off the floor to be a freshman is hard, I think, in any sport at any level. And so that jump from freshman to sophomore year we've really seen with her, and she's understanding what we're wanting to get done. She's a remarkable basketball player, and so excited for her to get some minutes this year and play a couple different roles and see what she can do.
I mean, obviously, you've had this team's been together, the core of it, a long time. You've had a few who've moved on and graduated, and the influx of new. Is it going to change your approach, or is your style pretty much going to be what it has been, or do you have to adjust a little bit to the players you have on the court?
It'll look pretty much the same. We'll see if we can press a little bit still, and then really just trying to get the ball up the floor. That's something that Brooke is really, really good at as a point guard. Is she wants the ball up the floor fast, and Kate likes to run the floor really fast. So when Kate runs the floor and Brooke can get her the ball, we have a layup. And so then that rewards that, and it's like, I want to shoot a layup, so I'm going to run the floor really hard because Brooke's going to get me the ball. And so I think we're going to see that even more, hopefully, this year, just getting the ball up the floor fast, as well as Olivia and Telexa both can get up the floor really fast. So a lot of different dynamics there as far as getting the ball up the floor, and then just executing in a little bit of a different way in the half court, but for the most part trying to grab a couple really good things we've been good at and implement it all together into one thing.
You mentioned Brooke. It looked like early on she's maybe doing a better job of finishing at the rim because she has just that little shake and bake move, can get to the rim a lot. It just seems like she struggled to finish. Looks like that may be improving a little bit because if she does, that's a lot of points.
It is. She does it. She's somebody that also can score at all three levels. So she doesn't have to finish at the rim. If she can pull up, she can shoot a 3. So she's a hard point guard to guard because she can push the ball so well, but in the half court is has the ability to score at all levels, but also is just a great passer, and so she's tough to guard.
You feel this team maybe can shoot the 3 a little bit better than they have in the past? How do you feel about that with this squad?
We shot the ball really well last year, actually, compared to what we have in the past. I think we'll see similar to that. Okay. We have a couple of our new kids are pretty good shooters, and our returners are looking good so far, and so I hope as we attack the basket, we can kick out and get pretty decent, good 3s.
All right, well, the season gets underway for real. This weekend, the Tigers heading to St. Joe, the Central Region Challenge. Augustana and MSU Moorhead out of the Northern Sun Conference will be your opponents. And we've seen it over the years. These early games have a lot of weight on them because you're playing in-region games, teams from another conference that you're going to be battling for. And the Northern Sun's always very competitive. What about this weekend? What about the 2 opponents you're going to face on Friday and Saturday?
We're going to see 2 different teams. The first team, Augustana, has a new coach with about 2 players that got very many minutes last year. So he's got technically 5 returners, but only 2 played a lot. So he's got a whole new roster for the most part and new style of play. So we were really walking in thinking about what we need to do well, not as much focused on them because we really don't know. And then the next night, Moorhead has a lot of returners back, a lot of experience back. The coach has been there a really long time, but adds a few new people to their roster that they were kind of missing. And so Moorhead's going to be a tough team to play too.
I know you're focused on this weekend and the games there. Then you'll come home the next weekend, the 15th and 16th, Adams State, MSU Denver. They'll be your home openers. And those will be 2 really good opponents. Adams was an NCAA tournament team a year ago, and you played Denver out at their place last year. You look at your schedule, have Regis and Colorado School of Mines on the road. You'll have a good non-conference schedule ahead of you before you begin the MIAA portion of it.
Yeah, I mean, with that change in the conference schedule, having to get more games, it was tough to find games. So we're playing teams that are that are decent. Also, all winnable games in my mind. So we've got to be ready to play every single one of those, and technically those are all in region because of the state touching, and so they're all huge when it comes to the post game.
Well, it should be a lot of fun. I know a lot of folks excited for the start of the season, and obviously a lot of expectations. You were picked high in the conference preseason standings. I know you don't put a lot of faith or whatever, look too much into it, but you're going to have a bullet on your back. You've been a great program, and you're going to get everybody's best shot regardless of who they are and what they've done in the past.
Yeah, when you look across the conference, we're one of the teams that has a lot of people back, and that's not the case in a lot of places, which is part of why we got picked up so high, I think, is because they kind of know who we are. But the conference is going to look very different this year, and so we just got to be able to bring it every single night.
Sounds good, Coach. We appreciate it. Glad you made it back safely from UConn and had a good experience, and look forward to the start of the new season this Friday afternoon.
Thanks, Jordan.
That's Talia Cars, the head coach of the Fort Hays State women. Again, they'll play at 12:30 on Friday against Augustana, and then 12:30 again on Saturday against MSU Moorhead. Both will be on Tiger Radio Mix 103.3. Our buddy Greg Ray, former voice of the Emporia State Hornets, will be helping us out, but he's a Fort Hays State alum, so it's all going to be good. We'll have those two games for you this week, and of course they'll be on the MIAA network as well. Tiger Talk brought to you by the Taco Shop. You can order by phone, use the Taco Shop app, dine in, pick up, or delivery. They're just east of the Fort Hays State campus on 8th Street. The Taco Shop. You've never had it so good. Men's coach Mark Johnson joins us next. This is Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
Being a foster grandparent has definitely given me a purpose in life.
Just been so happy, just so much more energy than being at home alone doing nothing but watching TV. It's the best part of my life.
Best part of being a foster grandparent volunteer, watching the light up in the kids' eyes.
I'm living again, and the foster grandparent did that for me.
First down at 10, rain starting to fall again. They hand it off to Watts. Watts breaks a tackle. He's at midfield. It's a foot race, 40 to the 30. Angles near sideline, 20, 15, 10, 5. He is in. Touchdown! Shane Watts, 69 yards. His second big touchdown run of the day. He wins the track meet, and he gets it into the end zone. And the Tigers answer. It's 18-7. Yeah, some of the action from Saturday. Big game for Shane Watts. We'll talk about that more a little bit later when Coach Chris Brown joins us. But right now we're talking some men's basketball. Mark Johnson with us. The Tigers opening up on Friday as well. Friday evening they'll be up in Marshall, Minnesota to take on Southwest Minnesota State. That'll be a 7 o'clock tip. And then on Saturday, taking on Concordia St. Paul. I believe that's at 4 o'clock. Those will both be played on the Southwest Minnesota State campus. Coach, we appreciate you joining us. And hard to believe it's here, but the season upon us here, just a few days out. How do you feel about things?
Yeah, it's happening quick. We've had a chance to have 3 competitions against outside teams. So hopefully give your new guys a little more experience and get their feet under them, and hopefully as a coaching staff being able to evaluate your team a little bit more and figure out how who needs to play and what spots and how we want to play. So ready or not, you kind of got to be ready no matter what. Great opening test for us. These are much harder games. We've always done a 4-year cycle, and we're starting a 4-year cycle here with these guys, but these 2 games will be much more challenging than the previous 4 years, and it'll be a good test for our guys early.
Well, a lot of folks got a chance to see you in the K-State exhibition. I know you take them with a grain of salt, but you had to like what your team did. You end up losing by, 12 or 14 in that game, but battled a couple of times after early deficits, and just the competitive nature and the fight in your guys. Had to be proud of that effort against a K-State team that rolled last night by 30.
Yeah, I thought we tried. We played hard. I thought the thing, especially the first half, and we rebounded really well against their size, and that's good to see. That's more of a toughness thing and just an effort thing. So I think we did a pretty good job with that. It's kind of a hard read because the second half we played a bunch of little guards against their size just to try to get some space because they were so long, there's nothing inside the paint. But that's probably not a realistic way you're going to be able to play at our level against our team. So but again, great experience for our guys. And main thing, just go out there and try to play hard, try to be unselfish, and try to be tough. And I thought we pretty much accomplished those goals.
All right, let's talk about your team. You're kind of, like you look at the women's squad, you've got a core players who were part of last year and have been with you for a while. But you got a lot of new guys to blend in there as well. It's kind of a unique mix, maybe the most dramatic as far as veterans and newcomers you've had.
Yeah, we have 9 new guys, which is, I would say, is the most we've had in at least 10 years. I would say if you go through our roster, now Kyle's a redshirt sophomore, but he is a sophomore. 10 of our 16 guys on our roster are freshmen and sophomores. I think the big thing that I'm fighting is just being patient. We've had such an experienced, tough group that knew what they were doing the last 3 years, as good as any group I've ever had the last 3 years, that it's just going to be different, and we need to be patient with these guys. And there's, I like our talent. I like what we have. We're just pretty far away from where we've been, and I think we can get there. It's going to be a while for some of these guys to learn. It's just a whole new for everybody. It's an effort, accountability with your effort, your execution. Everything's new, and we're better than we were. We just need to keep getting better, and I'm hopeful and positive this team will continue to do that.
Obviously, defense is what you guys have hung your hat on the last couple of seasons, and I know you try to do that every year, but the last 2 years we've just been spoiled because of how good and at such a high level. And I know you said going in, it's impossible for these guys to match that. But how have they come on that side of the ball? Because I know that's so important to you.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten better. I mean, again, the last couple of years, I would say, we've been special on that side of the ball, and you don't obviously special. You're special for a reason. Not everybody is that way. So these guys got a big thing to catch there. But I think the big thing with us is just being physical. We've just been really physical at the rim, and it's hard for people to finish. And some of our guys are trying to figure out what physicality is, and understanding that our league, they don't call a whole lot most nights. So that's something, a lot of kids in high school, they're told, and I don't blame their coaches, like, you can't get in foul trouble. We can't have you. High school's a tight whistle. The guys who play for us are their team's most important player, so they're spending the whole game avoiding foul trouble. When you're avoiding foul trouble, you're avoiding physicality. And now, so this is a big adjustment for them. And like I said, I think they're doing a good job with it. It's just something you got to continually, be the aggressor, not the guy that is getting hit.
R.J. Crawford obviously had some issues with his back last year, and I know he was fighting a little bit of that in the K-State game. How's he coming along? How's he doing right now?
That's going to be, something we can't control, but that's going to be one of the key to our seasons. He had a bad back, and after Christmas couldn't really play, and he's such a good player. And on top of it, he's a great, great kid, and he's tough. And most guys wouldn't be able to fight through the back pains he's fighting through. He had a really nice preseason. We were able to manage it, and he was able to manage it. And him and Kyle probably they were our two best players the entire preseason. And literally, I think you were there, 5 minutes into our first scrimmage, he got hit, and he fell on his back about as bad as you can. And he hasn't been the same since. So I think it's anything he's going to be with a back is people that have bad backs. I mean, it's going to be hit and miss. But hopefully he can remain as healthy as possible because he changes our size on the perimeter. He changes our athleticism. And him and Caleb are premier defenders. And you take him away, we become less athletic, we become smaller. We don't shoot it as well, and we don't guard as well. So, Caleb, Kyle, and RJ, not that everybody on our team in basketball is important. Basketball, I would say, it's not really a next man up sport. There's only 5 guys out there. They got to play offense and defense. You lose somebody, you're not going to be as good as you were. There's just no way around it. But RJ, Caleb, and Kyle Grill, we need to have them all year. And if we have them all year, I anticipate us having a good season.
Talk about Kyle a little bit. We saw him last year, especially after Trajan got hurt. He got to play a lot more. How has his game improved? What has he done since last year, and what are you expecting out of him?
My hope and what he's played so far in the preseason in our 3 games, he's that next line of guys that really, Jared Vitztum, after 2 or 3, 2 years in the program, really made a jump and became an all-conference guy. Brady Worth, Hadley Gillum. Kyle's really made that jump, and he is really playing well. He's 6'6", 210, can really shoot the ball right now, can post smaller guys, can attack closeouts and drive to the rim. Kyle I would be disappointed if he doesn't have a big year. I think he's capable of having a big year. Kyle at times has got to work on the other things. Defense, it doesn't come naturally to him. Like I tell him, just do enough so you can stay out on the floor. You know what I mean? If you can do that on offense, you're going to really, be a good player. But he's a tough matchup at our level. There's not very many 6'6" guys with his body and can do the things he can do. So, again, I don't want to put too much pressure on him, but I think he can more than handle it. I would think he needs to be a really good player.
He must be really strong because you play K-State. A lot of those 6'10", 6'11" dudes were all over the floor all night whenever they came in contact with him.
He's a big, strong kid, and he's sneaky athletic, especially on the offensive end. You watch him in warm-ups. He looks extremely athletic, but he's a powerful athlete.
And Caleb Hammocky, obviously, back there, he had the COVID year. You know what you're going to get. He max effort, max all the time, and he's been really fun to watch. And he'll get this swan song this year, and hopefully can have another great year for him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Caleb, Caleb's probably tired of me using his name to his teammates all the time, and I try to, tell his teammates, this guy's in his 6th year in our program. He has to do the same drills every day for 6 years. How monotonous is that? But he still goes harder than the rest of you. Some of you, this is the first time you've ever had to do these things. This is 6 years in a row, and he's always going to do it harder and more aggressive with winning intent than anybody else on our team. And that's just Caleb. And, I'm glad we have a 6th year with him. I may quit when he's gone just because
we don't want that.
He just makes everything, like I said, it's not an overstatement. I would like to think I don't say this stuff about every single player we've had, but I mean, Caleb is just his motor never stops. He's the ultimate winner, competitor, and he just makes he makes these other guys probably work harder at times than they really would like to.
All right, real quick, you kind of touched on it before we let you go. Southwest Minnesota State NCAA tournament team a year ago. They got hooked up with Northwest. They got a lot of guys back, some good scores from last year. As you said, this will be a tough test.
Yeah, on their home floor, it's a true home game for them. I was trying to look back, and I can't think. I'm sure we have, but I would say arguably this is about as tough a season opener as we've had in quite some time. Like I said, they made an NCAA tournament. They're a very good team. I think they have 5 of their top 7 guys back. They're an experienced team. So it'll be a hard game. And then the next night, St. Paul will be one of the more faster-playing, talented teams we play. They got a couple players. They just played Wyoming, and the score was like 110 to 90. Yeah. So we're going to have to get them slowed down. So this will be, like I said, right out of the block. Our non-conference schedule is probably as good as it's ever been. We're playing, 2 the preseason 2nd and 3rd pick in the RMAC. We're playing William Jules on the road, which is a returning NCAA tournament team that basically has their whole team back. So this will be one of the harder non-conference schedules in recent memory for sure, and it will let us know where we're at for sure.
Sounds good. Mark, appreciate it. Travel safe to Minnesota. We'll see you there on Friday.
All right, thanks, George.
There you go, Mark Johnson, coach of the Fort Hays State men. Again, 7 o'clock Friday night against Southwest Minnesota State, then 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon against Concordia St. Paul, both on Tiger Radio Mix 103.3. Tiger Talk brought to you by the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, the most comprehensive orthopedic care in western Kansas. Let the experts at Hayes Med Orthopedic help you move freely. Learn more at hayesmed.com/orthopedics. We'll take a break. Head football coach Chris Brown is next on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayespost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, real country. 99 KZ Country.
Play action. Heavner's going to keep it. Spun at the 5. Breaks the tackle. He goes in. Touchdown. Fort Hays State. 7-yard touchdown run from Caleb Heavner. It's 25-7 Tigers with 13-14 to go in the third. Yeah, some of the action from Saturday on a rainy day in Emporia. Tigers get the big win. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Hey, you can look your best on Tiger Game Day with official Nike gear from BSN Sports and the Sideline Store. Go to the Fort Hays State Athletics website, FHSUathletics.com. Click on Shop. There you'll find hundreds of products and designs, and they're all customizable. Pretty neat. Go to FHSUathletics.com. Click on Shop to open up the Tiger Team store. Fort Hays State Athletics also proud to partner with the Kansas Drive to Zero Coalition, encouraging you to join Tiger fans with a plan. Always have a designated driver or other sober ride to and from your destination. We're joined by head football coach Chris Brown. That was fun Saturday. It was rainy. It was football weather. That had been a natural grass, muddy field. That's all that was missing from, you see the video from the 1950s and 60s. That's kind of what it felt like out there. But, man, I thought your guys really handled the weather, and you guys took it to Emporia State. Maybe the best game of the year all around by everybody.
Our kids played really well. Even with the delays and all those things going on, they were able to keep their energy up, their excitement up, their intensity up as well. And that's probably our most physical team, our most physical game of the year, offensively, defensively, and all around special teams too. But very proud of the way our guys handled the weather. Didn't really affect us too much. Our run game really got established as well. With our offense, and our defense did a really good job of shutting down their offense.
Obviously, with the weather, it rained there all day. You pull up to the stadium, it's pouring, and then you mentioned the delays when a little bit of lightning rolled in. You had a feeling the ground game was going to be important. You obviously ran the ball well and did a good job of taking that element away from the Hornets, and they like to throw the ball. They throw the ball a lot, about 65% of the time, and you made it challenging. The conditions didn't hurt, but you really took them out of what they like to do, and that was obviously a big advantage as that thing went along.
Yeah, our D-line did a really good job of keeping pressure on him, and our secondary did a good job of getting attached to the receivers really early and locking them down, and then just our offense too, being able to control the clock, throughout the entire game. I mean, we had our time of possession. Mm-hmm. It's usually Emporia's always winning that, but our time of possession offensively really kept the ball out of their hands, which really helped us defensively and gave us the rest that we needed. But it was a team effort. I mean, offense, defense, special teams. I mean, we won that game together, but you could just see the physicality on both sides and being able to establish that run game, early, in the first quarter to really make them, question themselves and what they were doing, and then our kids just pinned their ears back and got after it.
I know Coach Ross is here. Tom Ross, the first-year offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, the guest here today as well. Did you change your game plan knowing the weather? Obviously you always want to establish the running game, but did you change much because of the elements as that thing went along?
The crazy thing is he's a quarterback coach, right? You think quarterback guys just want to throw the ball around the place, but he's a guy that wants to run the ball, and
no wonder you hired him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's I'm a guy that likes to run the ball as well. But through the week we knew it was going to rain, but we always try to establish the run game anyway. We just so happened to be able to do that early, and that really helped our game and helped our play action as well, and get guys open. And Caleb, be able to use his feet and scramble around and make things happen, on the run, really helped us as well. But it was, they did a great job. Our O-line did a really good job in that game, opened up holes. I could have ran through a couple of those myself. I probably wouldn't have scored like Shane did, but I probably would have got caught. But he is seeing things really well right now, and our O-line's doing a great job of blocking.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. He goes for 250. They actually credited John Johnson with a run, so we knew that wasn't right when we got off the air. But we didn't know. We knew it was either 2 or 4. They accidentally hit 3 and ended up giving it to Shane when they went back and checked the play. 250 yards. He is the first Tiger ever to have back-to-back 200-yard rushing games. You've had back-to-back 200 rushing games, but not by the same player. He's the first Tiger in the history of Fort Hays State football to do that. He's had 3 straight over 100. He's just, as you said, he's playing at another level. Co-offensive player of the week this week in the MIAA. And as you said, those 2 big runs that were key plays, I don't know that he got touched ever on those because the hole was so big by the offensive line. They're really working well right now, those two, the line and Shane, in finding those holes in his running attack.
Yeah, he's fun to watch, but, it's that offensive line and Caleb's, ability to run the ball too. But also credit to our wide receivers getting downfield and making blocks as well because, they're 20, 30 yards downfield, making the blocks so those defensive backs can't go catch up to him and bring him down. But it is all working well right now. We just hopefully it keeps continuing. But our guys are really dead set on running the ball. They love to run the ball. We've got those type of offensive linemen that want to be physical and aggressive, and we've got a running back that's the same way. He loves to run downhill and get after people and break tackles.
I know you touched on a little bit, but the defense was really, really good. It just felt like, at times it felt like you knew what they were playing, or you had the helmet on with the headset. It just felt like everything they tried, you were right there and ready for it, had everything defended well.
Our kids were very prepared. Our offense was as well. Not on that side of the ball too much, but I know how those guys prepare our young men. But defensively, everything that we saw, we showed them in practice. And we knew number 3 was going to get the ball quite a bit. He's a tremendous wide receiver. We were able to shut him down except for maybe, one play, which we knew he was going to get his one play in that game at some point. But we just wrap up and tackle. He doesn't get that touchdown. But, our guys were prepared. They saw things really well, and when they saw it, they attacked it and were aggressive and physical and had some big hits in that game.
How do you handle, you had 2 weather delays, one, and worried about that because you had the 5-0 lead, all the momentum, then you have to go to the locker room for about 45, 50 minutes, and then the other coming out before the start of the second half. How do you handle all of that when you're in those delays? You've had a few over the years, but never easy, I'm sure.
A bunch this year, it seems like. The first one, Coach Brown really wasn't happy about it. When we had some momentum, we kicked the field goal. We just got the safety. I didn't see any thunder, or I didn't hear any thunder. I didn't see any lightning. So, of course, I get a little upset about those things. Are they trying to pause us for just a little bit to get the momentum back? But, our guys just in the locker room just handled it really well. They stayed, focused. They stayed locked in. They were playing some music. They were talking about different things that they were seeing. And so that really helps out. As a coach, you just go in there to make sure they're staying locked in and focused. And our kids are mature. They wanted this win, and so they stayed locked in and focused and ready to roll. And then before halftime, it's just a little extra break for our guys.
Felt like a Super Bowl game.
Yeah, it gave us a little bit more time to go through some things with them, in the locker room on what Emporia was doing against us. So it was kind of beneficial for us on that part.
Well, they handled the 2 weather delays, handled the Hornets, got the win to move to 7-3. Now have they're idle this weekend, and then wrap it up a week from Saturday at Nebraska Kearney. Tiger Talk brought to you by BTI, your John Deere dealer. Locations in Buckland, Gray Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family, in partnership with your family. We'll take our final break. Back with more with Coach Chris Brown on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
When it comes to screen printing and embroidery, your first choice should be Redeem Designs in Hayes. Turn it up with Redeem Designs, where it's not just about the products, it's about the partnership. At Redeem Designs, you're part of the process. They work closely with you to ensure your vision comes to life. So turn up your 2024-25 season with Redeem Designs.
3rd and goal from the 7. Heemner to throw. Now he wants to run. Stretches. Throws late. It's caught. Touchdown. Fort Hays State. Jabari Lewis. His 3rd touchdown catch of the year. And the Tigers on 3rd and goal from the 7 score to lead 32-7 with 3:28 to go in the 3rd quarter. Yeah, fun afternoon. Tigers beat the Hornets. Now get set for Nebraska Kearney a week from Saturday. Idled this week. Kind of strange to have what this late in the year. That's the way the schedule worked out. How do you handle no game this week with your team and then preparing for Kearney as well?
Well, the way we're playing right now, I want to keep playing.
Yeah, really.
But, we got to handle it the right way. We had a normal Monday where we lifted in the morning, had meetings in the afternoon, did a little bit of a 15-minute run. They were off yesterday. We'll practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But, today's practice and tomorrow's practice, our 1s and 2s will probably get a max of 20 plays, but really get our young guys ready, get them some more reps, kind of get them prepared for spring. And then Friday we're going to do a pool workout with the older guys and then let the younger guys scrimmage a little bit. So then we'll give them Saturday, Sunday off, and we'll prepare Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for Kearney next week, and hopefully get after them on Saturday.
Yeah, it'll be Kearney week next week. Good team, obviously defensively really good. Their front 4 maybe as good as anybody in the conference.
Yeah, they're really good. Across the board offensively and defensively, they've done some good things. They've had some really, really close games, some games that they probably had chances to win. The record doesn't show probably what their potential is, but they are a good football team, and I'm glad we got an extra week to prepare for them.
All right, should be a lot of fun. That'll be a week from Saturday. Fort Hays State heading to Nebraska Kearney to take on the Lopers. And obviously the playoffs with the new rankings coming out, that's probably not going to happen, but a lot to play for. Chance to get to 8 wins, which is huge. Maybe a bowl game, which would be a great reward for these guys. So still a lot on the line on Saturday.
Yeah, there is. You never know what can happen in our conference.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, there's a couple more teams that could lose a couple games and maybe bump us up in the polls as well. And, we'll play a bowl game as well if we get that opportunity. But there's still a lot to play for. We were 7-4 last year, and if we get to 8-3, this year that's a big improvement, and our kids deserve hopefully to play another game.
And this conference, that would be huge. Coach, as always, we appreciate it. Enjoy a weekend off, and we'll look forward to seeing you up in Kearney a week and a half from now.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Gerard.
All right, there you go. Chris Brown, coach of the Tigers. Again, no Tiger football this weekend. They'll be up in Kearney for the noon start 1 week from Saturday. Need to remind you, no program next week because of a room conflict. So no program next Wednesday, and then the 27th, no program because it'll be the day before Thanksgiving. So certainly love to see you here in a couple of weeks when we resume Tiger Talk. Until then, so long, everyone.
Tiger Talk, live from Tiger Club inside the Robins Center on the Fort Hays State Campus.